And tonight we're very privileged to have one of our good friends, Chef Adam Brown. For those of you who don't know who he is, he started it actually. He worked at it. He started the Cooper restaurant on
PGA Boulevard, Palm Beach Gardens.
That's right. And then Chef Daniel Ramos, they're good old friends together. And I've worked with Daniel a couple dinners with some lunches. And Daniel has a farm as well. He's a farmer, Chef Daniel. And then he does a lot of the green market at Delray, Palm Beach Garden. And he does a lot of pop-up, and he does a lot of charity work, charity dinners. So if you go to a lot of charity ball in Palm Beach, you've probably seen him. He's always behind the scene. So I welcome you. And he's the master of sausage making. I told him, you got to make some sausages. You got to show us how to do this. So tonight we'll have a good time and enjoy, okay?
Welcome, everybody. Thank you. So we're going to start with dessert tonight. We're going to start making some ice cream, and then we're going to go into the salad course, and we'll move forward from there. By the time we get to dessert, the ice cream will be ready to go, and we'll have a nice time. First thing, we're going to make a custard. So if you've ever made ice cream before, what you want to do, I've got some heavy cream. The recipe is in your packet if you like. Granulated sugar, heavy cream, and you just want to be careful because at some point it's going to boil over, so we'll keep an eye on that. This is lemon verbena. It's an herb that Chef Dan grows, so we're going to put that in there. We're going to let it steep. And then lemon verbena, it's got a very nice pronounced lemon flavor. What we're going to do is we're going to add a little lemon zest, a little lemon juice, just to kind of make it pop a little bit. So through the magic of cooking, I made a custard ahead of time. Right? So I have a little Cuisinart tabletop ice cream maker, which you can get anywhere, really. You can get them on Amazon. They have some fancier ones that have a compressor in it. They're a little bit more pricey, but they'll do the refrigeration. You don't have to freeze the bowl. So this has a bowl that kind of goes in, right? And then this sets inside. So I've made this custard already. I've steeped my lemon verbena, my lemon juice with the sugar, the cream for about 45 minutes or so. I whipped my egg whites, combined them both. I'm going to show you how I did that. This is the custard after it's cooled down. So we put it inside. And then we just let it go. We just let it churn. So, again, let's say this already steeped for a half hour, 45 minutes. And then what you want to do is slowly, you're going to add your cream into your egg yolks. If the cream is too hot and you add it to your egg yolks, you're going to have scrambled eggs, which we don't want. So you slowly add a little bit of the hot liquid at a time. This is what we call tempering. So we're tempering our egg yolks into our cream. You do about a third at a time. Like I said, this already steeped for a while, so I've already dissolved the sugar and all the flavors are in there. So now I have a nice custard. What I would do is I would strain it. Because you want a nice smooth custard. And then this way, when you're adding your cream, if you have any little bits of cooked egg, they'll be discarded through the sieve. So you'll have a nice smooth custard. This is a classic French custard ice cream. So then I would cool this down overnight. You get a lot more flavor if you let it sit overnight. And then you just go right into the ice cream maker. So we're going to let this go. This takes about 45 minutes or so. Like I said, the compressor ice cream makers, which I use more often, goes a little bit faster, right? So that's going to be dessert. Lemon verbena ice cream. So for our first course tonight, we are doing a salad with Asian greens that Diane grows on here at the farm. So some of the greens that are in there, there's tatsoi, there's pak choi, there's mizuna. We put some rainbow carrots that were from the farm. There's kohlrabi, watermelon radish is in there as well. So I'm going to teach you how to make the Chinese mustard vinaigrette. So this is what we call an emulsified dressing. So for this dressing, you could use pasteurized egg yolks as well, and that would be perfectly fine. I'm using a raw egg. You don't have to use an egg, but it just makes it a little bit more stable. So I have my egg yolk. Now I have my rice vinegar. I have my soy sauce. And I like to use, I use a gluten-free soy sauce. I use the Sanjay brand, low sodium. I find it's, first of all, it's gluten-free, so you kind of avoid that, but it's also got a nice nuanced flavor to it. Some of the other cheaper soy sauces, they get the color from caramel, like caramel coloring and some additives. So the Sanjay is 100% just soybean water, and it's just aged, so that's nice. A little bit of honey. Now, the whole thing with dressings is really, it's kind of a personal preference. You know, if you like them a little bit more tangy, you can add more acid. If you like them a little bit more neutral, you just add more oil. And you can kind of play with the flavor profiles that way. Grated ginger. Pickled ginger, it's a very fast way to get a lot of flavor because you get the acid, you get the ginger, you get a little bit of heat. So it's a nice shortcut. I have some sesame oil. Fresh black pepper. And then one of these gadgets are fantastic. This is an immersion blender. This one is a Vita Prep. So you always want to use a taller vessel. So in case the dressing may flare up a little bit, this guy fits right in there. So as it's churning, you want to slowly add your oil. And you'll see the viscosity as it goes, it's starting to get a nice consistency to it. And that's from the egg yolk. And also, I'm going to add a little dry mustard. Look. I like dressings that are assertive. I find a lot of times dressings can be a little flat. Because once you have to imagine eating the dressing after it's been sitting with the lettuce and it sweats and the water comes out of the lettuce, so your dressing becomes a little diluted. So I always make my dressings a little bit more heavily seasoned than you may think. So when the end product, you end up exactly where you need to be. All right, so we talked about the greens. Pak choy, there's some mizuna, watermelon, radish, kohlrabi. Kohlrabi is fantastic. If you've never had it, it's a really, really wonderful, very flexible. You can do a lot of really cool things with it. Salt and pepper always. So with these greens, you want to go a little bit heavier than you may think with the dressing, just so it's nicely coated. So always you want to plate as center as you can. You want to put your leafy greens down first, and then what I call the goodies on top. So you see all the nice garnishes on top, right? So we're going to garnish it with some orange segments, some candied cashews, which are really easy to make. If you buy roasted cashews, pop them in the oven for a couple minutes until they're warm. Put a little honey in a mixing bowl. Toss the nuts in the honey and spray with some non-stick spray at the same time. Toss with a little sesame seeds and put them onto a sheet tray or a cookie sheet, and you have candied cashews. It's really, really easy. So I put the orange segments around. I put some candied cashews. Crispy wontons. I just bought some wontons at the Asian market. I chiffonaded them, or I sliced them thin, and I fried them at a high temperature. You can buy them for sure. You can also bake them if you like. It's just to give it a little bit of crispy component. And then I garnish with little scallions on top. All right, so you have a nice, tall Asian green salad, and that's our first course. Thank you so much. And now, if I didn't make you hungry enough, we're gonna start eating. Okay, would you have a question?
Yes, with those greens and the garnishes, that looks like a salad that you could possibly make up ahead a little while and it would be all right.
So I wouldn't toss it with the dressing necessarily, but you can certainly mix all the vegetables and you could put all the components except the dressing. I would wait till the last moment to do the dressing. You probably have like maybe 7 to 8 minutes, maybe 10, but I wouldn't go more than that because what's going to happen is it's going to get soggy. But actually, it's funny because this is a salad I make all the time. I work for I'm a private chef in Palm Beach, and this is one of the salads that it's like a go-to every week. They love it. I do it with chicken. If you add chicken or shrimp or whatever, turn it right into a main course. For lunch, it's perfect.
Tasha Quatabani. So she's with Tasha's Table Catering. So we've known each other a long time. So she helps me on the farm, and we just support each other. I've got a small family farm called Red Splendor Farm in West Lake Worth. I've always been a chef for years. I just started doing this over the last year and a half. So this is all farming is new to me, but being a chef is not. so this is really fun for me. So we're doing the next dish we're going to do is it's a shrimp and fennel bruschetta, but it's a take on a bruschetta. So it's a cooked tomato with fennel and shrimp. So what we're using is we're starting with you guys know him, Bread by Johnny, right? He's got the best bread in town. Fantastic guy. In fact, at the Palm Beach Gardens Green Market, he's 2 booths down from me. So I get to see him and his team every Sunday. So we sometimes exchange greens or bread, which is I always have fresh bread. So today we're using the olive bread. So I'm going to we're gonna break away. We're on the back. He's gonna flip. So I have to go out here and grill this bread. So first thing we're gonna do is get your bread by Johnny. Any bread could be the grain, could be the sourdough. We're just going to drizzle it right here a little bit with some olive oil. Of course, as always, salt, pepper. While my pan's getting hot here. All right, so we're gonna switch the camera outside, so I'm just gonna throw this on the grill, but you'll be able to see me is what I understand, so we'll see. We've got our bread here, this Bread by Johnny olive bread with the olive oil and the black pepper, and we just kind of get it on a nice hot grill, and just kind of looking for some really nice caramelization here on the bread. Just kind of brings out all that sweetness from the bread. It's gonna be really nice with shrimp and tomatoes and fennel. So this is almost done, and then I'll be back inside. There we go. All right, we're looking good here. All right, back inside. All right, I'm back. Now, were you able to see everything that happened out there? And you heard me too? Wow, that's amazing. Technology, huh? All right, so we're gonna start our dish off by. This is a really fast dish, so it's really super easy to do. Now, when you're cooking a lot in saute pans, the best thing I can suggest is just a really good wooden spoon. I mean, I can't stress that enough. This is handmade by one of the vendors at the Delray Beach Green Market, and they make cutting boards. So we've got our garlic toasting here, really nice. The slower you go, the better it is. Then we're gonna add some shallots. Love cooking with shallots. Shallots to me have a little more depth of flavor, not so much pungency like a white onion or a yellow onion. They're just a little more sweeter. Since they're smaller, they kind of like melt into the dish easier, which I really like. So we got our garlic, our shallots. And then let's see, we're gonna add some crushed red pepper flakes. You can either do this with or without. I'm a big fan of olive oil, garlic, crushed red pepper, great flavors. You can go as little as much as you like. All right, so we got our fennel here. We're gonna sweat the fennel out. So as I was saying with the spoon, it's like I had to break away from that because I don't want to burn my garlic. So with the spoon, you got to go see the guy, and you got to pick out your spoon. If anybody's like a fan of Harry Potter, you know, the wand chooses you. Same thing with a spoon. You got to really feel it, and it fits your hand. So I have different spoons for everything. So I have another spoon for the next dish. So this is my pasta spoon here, my saucy spoon. So it's true. You got to hold the spoon to make sure it accepts you. All right, so we got our fennel going. Now we're going to deglaze with a little white wine. Now, once you add the wine, you want to always cook your wine out a little bit. It just takes the rawness out of it. So once you just cook it and reduce it by half, you still want to leave a little bit of juice in there, but let it reduce by half. Get the wininess out of it. Then you're left with just the acidity and the flavor of it. So it just takes a second. Now you could always add the shrimp, but the shrimp will come later because they could cook gently. So the tomatoes are really important. So right now it's tomato season. So I consider this farm-to-table cooking, and farm-to-table cooking is the less you do to a dish, the better off you are. I know a lot of chefs peel the tomatoes, squeeze out the seeds. That would be a concasse. I use skin, seed. I use it all because there's no. I mean, all of the tomatoes should be happy enough to just make it into the dish. I'm not going to discriminate on any part of the tomato. Everybody goes to the party. So I use skin and all. And that just gets you to just appreciate every part of the tomato. And I use different tomatoes: yellow tomato, Roma tomato, grape tomatoes, any tomato you want, any order of tomatoes, because in fact, they all have a little different flavor notes to them. If you do all grape tomatoes, it might be too sweet. So you got to use a little balance of everything, just so it balances out. Whenever you add the tomatoes, because this is a cooked down dish, as soon as you add tomatoes, you always add salt, because salt is going to denature, it's going to break down the tomato and get it to release all its juices. Hence another great reason why you need all the juice and all the seeds, because this should be a very juicy dish. Salt, pepper, of course. Now, we'll let this cook down for a little bit. While we're doing that, so we're a herb farm, so we grow lots of herbs for culinary use, for tea use. Right now I'm using some Greek oregano in this dish. We're also going to use I have up here some blue spice basil, so we're going to use that as well. And then for the final garnish, we're going to use, where you would normally think you would use basil again, we're going to use mint for the final garnish, so you get a really nice type of mint. So Greek oregano is, in the oregano spectrum, it is the spiciest of the oreganos. Where there's other oreganos, there's Cuban oregano, Dominican oregano, Italian oregano. The Greek one is the spiciest of them all. So we're just going to chop up our fresh herb here. I love using fresh herbs, and since having an herb farm, my cooking has changed a lot, where I'm very herb forward, which has been actually an advantage, because adding herbs to any dish could turn just an ordinary tomato and salt to like, wow, tomato and just different basils and blue basil and African basil and spicy clove basil. So it's really changed how I cook, using a lot more herbs in my food. So right now we're adding our oregano. So while these tomatoes are crushing down and cooking a little bit, make it nice and saucy, we can add our shrimp here. Now the shrimp, normally you could add them, saute them separate, but in this case, I really want them to release their juices as well. So I'm not really focused on like caramelizing it, or I just want to really cook it into the sauce. But you can easily, if you don't, say you're cooking for someone that doesn't eat shrimp and you have to cook for 2 dishes, this could easily be done shrimp by itself, salt, pepper, oil, and then put it into the final dish. So this without shrimp is still fantastic. You know, there's no... Shrimp is just to give you a little value added. But it's without shrimp, it's amazing. All right, so we're gonna let that cook a little bit here. So back to like even cooking with herbs is I found myself now. We also make teas, but cooking with, say you wanted to use a dish that would get chicken stock, I make now this herb tea, very light tea. It's not, I call it a tea, but it's just a water infusion with our fresh herbs. So I just do a different assortment of thymes, oreganos, basils, mints, make this really nice light herby broth, and I use that to like moisten dishes. I use that to use in a risotto. I've cooked collard greens in it, and it was just amazing. Like you don't even miss the chicken stock at all. All right, so these shrimp don't take long to cook. You know, cooking shrimp the right way it's a very gentle process. It's super lean. So honestly, you don't want to really high heat any shrimp because it's just going to get rubbery. So since it's so lean, it does need to be. And you guys can see what's in the pan, right? Okay. So what I'm doing is like I'm trying to get the I want it to cook, but I also want to like keep moving it around just so it's like the tomatoes on top. Everything is just cooking real nice and slow. And then we're going to finish the dish with some lemon juice. You can add lemon juice now or later. It doesn't really matter. The cooking is it's so. I try to tell people when you're cooking, just you got to really cook with your senses, and just especially cooking where it's not like baking, like making an ice cream. If you forget the egg yolks, it's screwed, you know. But on this, you could change it. If you forget garlic, you can add garlic later. Or you can do the herbs later. So it's you just have fun with it. So now our shrimp are cooked, and that was only just a few minutes. So that's it. Dish is done. I'm gonna taste it because you always want to taste for seasoning to make sure it's good. Amazing. So easy. All right, so we're done cooking. So the pickup on this dish is going to be some kai kai's arugula. This was kai kai fennel, kai kai tomatoes as well. So this arugula just kind of it's not on your recipe. It was kind of a last minute addition because we're in the back, we're thinking about the plate up, and we're like, arugula would be really good in this dish, and it's here, so why not just add it? So the same thing. If you have it, use it. All right, so we have that right there, which is our little bed of arugula. We put our little toasted bread here. Get a fresh spoon. Now these are going to be a nice little shrimp presentation on top. Correct. Look at that. All right. So let's use our spoon, give him a little action. Like I said, this dish, even without shrimp, is amazing. All right. So then we have our this mint that I'm using here is called Egyptian mint. So it's very similar to apple mint. It has a really nice velvety texture, softness to it. Super nice to cook with. So you just put a little mint there, and then you get yourself some of this fresh basil here. We grow all kinds of basils. This blue spice basil is it's a little spicier, but man, it is so good. All right, so then we're gonna finish the dish with a little olive oil here. All right. Then just a little lemon juice, because it's lemon just really, that's like one of the tricks to professional chefs is like acid, cooking with acid in everything you do, whether it's vinegar, lemon juice, wine. It's just really, it really brings out a lot of flavors. Like you won't really taste lemon, but what you're going to taste is what the lemon does. It's just going to open up all the tomato flavor, fennel, the pepper, the shrimp. So it's going to be a really nice, really nice to open up all those flavor notes. Well, there you have it. That's your shrimp and fennel bruschetta. And now we're going to get ready and plate it for you guys. All right, enjoy. Hello again. I'm back. How is that shrimp bruschetta? Awesome. So again, I'm Chef Daniel Ramos. I'm chef owner of Red Splendor Farm. So we grow lots of herbs, and like I said, I try to incorporate herbs into every dish we do. So that one was that blue spice basil. So this is how we sell it at the farmers market. So this is like, it's intended to go home, go into your garden, but we also sell it cut herbs. And when we're at the farmers market, I try to always teach people, because I'm a chef, I can teach people like how to use certain things, because some people are a little scared to use herbs, but herbs are like the simplest, easiest thing you can do to any dish that just turns it from like ordinary to like extraordinary without even you doing anything different. All you're doing is adding a fresh herb. So again, we're gonna keep going with the demo here. The next one is a chicken sausage and happy rich broccoli. So chicken sausage, I made a lot of sausage in my life, and I started off actually Red Splendor Farm in 2015 was called Red Splendor Sausage Company. So Red Splendor, coincidentally, is my favorite mustard green. So we started making sausages, and then picked up partners along the way. We're doing pop-ups, all sausage driven, and we were using local whole hogs. And so we were at the farmers markets, and then we opened up a butcher shop in Boynton Beach. And then the day came where it was like, it's time for me to go for my next project, and it just happened to be my aunt was retiring from being a grower called Abel's Nursery in Hypoluxo Road, Lantana area. So I remember the day, like sitting under a June plum tree where I was picking June plums for my restaurant, and I just said, "Oh, I can do this every day, you know, no problem." And she was like, she was retired. She's like, "Whenever you're ready, we'll start. We have all the infrastructure in place." So sure enough, 30 days later, I was at the farmers market selling herbs with her, and it was just a decision I would never regret. So now it's like I get to enjoy cooking and then growing, which is just what a fantastic combo that is. So we'll start with this demo here. So we're gonna do again. I'm gonna take you outside because we got to do some grilling. So we're using Kai Kai's peppers here. We also have the Happy Rich broccoli. Now I didn't do a demo on sausage making because that's like I need 2 hours of your time. So I don't think we have enough time today. So we're just gonna do. I'll walk you through it, and I'll actually tell you my secrets for making chicken sausage. But when we get to that, so right now I'm gonna go outside. All right, again we have a nice hot grill. We're going to throw our peppers on here. And what we're looking for is that, you know, that charred flavor from the, you know, whether you're cooking on coals or wood or whatever your cooking medium is. You just want all that caramelization, those natural sugars and everything, just to kind of char up, especially the peppers, the skin. Those charred, like I said before, skin on any vegetable. I mean, it's amazing. You just got to learn how to use it to your advantage. In this case, we want to get it nice and charred and get that flavor into the dish. I feel like I'm talking to myself out here, but I'm not. All right, so we've got some broccoli here that was already charring, so I'm not out here for 20 minutes. So that's about how long it would take here. We've also got some peppers here that were charred up already. Charring this broccoli, charring the peppers, you know, get some caramelization on there. We're gonna get into the dish. I mean, Adam's like, this Happy Rich broccoli is his favorite vegetable. Yeah, anything charred is better. People are scared of, you know, there's a lot of charring too much or firing up the grill, but it just takes a sec, you know, just get it hot, char it up, bring it inside, you're done. Easy. All right, so I got my already charred peppers here, so you get the idea. I've got my already charred broccoli, and these guys, we'll do something else with them. All right, back inside. So we got our hot pan here. So this is a really fast dish. It's almost too fast. So a lot of times when I'm doing pasta at home, which we do a lot, my wife knows, my son knows, when the pasta goes in the water, it's time to get to the table, right? That means dinner's close. All right, so we did some garlic confit in here. Garlic confit is basically just whole garlic cloves cooked in some, just slowly cooked in oil, extra virgin oil, and then I put a lot of herbs, oregano, lemon thyme. I put some bay leaves in here, cook it really, really slow. and then just have it in the refrigerator. I mean, once it's confit and it's oil, keep it cold, and you'll have it for many things. I mean, garlic confit, clove out, spread on bread, fantastic. Garlic confit, you're making a sandwich, you put mayonnaise, take a garlic clove, spread it, amazing. So it's like something that's always there. So we start out with that. We're gonna get our peppers in here. All right, we'll chop these guys up. Chop up our broccoli. Now we're chopping this because of the pasta size. So we want to make sure everything cooks evenly. So we got our peppers, our broccoli. Now you can, if you wanted this hot, you can add a chili pepper. What I have here is this is a Peruvian lemon drop pepper. Yours don't have the chili in this one, but I have it in the demo one. Here's my other spoon. This is a nice little flat one, okay? So this is designed to scrape, you know, so you don't want to ever use metal. So this one also, same guy made it. It picked me, so I got it. So I have all my spoons here, so that way I can scrape up this garlic and get it into the dish. All right, so now we're gonna add the sausage. So this sausage here, this is it's chicken sausage, and the trick to chicken sausage is what I found is, and I'll tell you my secret. It's fine. I know you can't go open a sausage company, promise. So I use whole chickens. So these are whole Bell & Evans chickens, and when you're doing a whole chicken, leave the skin on. So this is the leg, breast, and thigh of all the skin and all the meat. And you also got to have a good grinder. I know a lot of people use KitchenAids for grinders, but this part of the teaching sausage is when you grind sausage, it's got to be cold the whole time. Like you have to chop when you have the chicken off the bone, you put it in the freezer. You want to grind at like 32 degrees. So you freeze it, semi-frozen, and then you grind it. So what I've always found is on any texture, you maybe do 3 grinds, but I do a large die, and in sausage terms, you know what I mean. So a large die, run it through twice. So I do it once, and then again, and that gets me the texture I want. And it turns out to like this texture of like sausage. And you see how it's like almost it's rubbery, it's holding together, and that's the natural process with myosin in the meat, so the proteins stick together. So when they're raw, and salt also helps that. Like you would never have, there's no such thing as a sausage without salt, because salt actually does the job of rebinding those chopped meats. So once salt touches any part of the protein, it fuses it back together. And that's how you get a nice sausage. When you cut it through, it's like one piece. So again, that's why we didn't do the sausage demo, because I need more time. So I'm getting the sausage in here. So I like to, you notice on the recipe I say it's ground. Well, it's the sausage, but you would buy like raw chicken sausage, pull out the casings, but then I just kind of squeeze it into little piles, and that kind of gets me the texture of a sausage that I like, versus taking raw sausage and cooking it in the pan, and then you have to stir it and break it up. You kind of end up with like a bolognese, and that's kind of not what this dish is about. This dish is sausage pieces. This is a traditional dish. I didn't make this up. Orchette, broccoli, and sausage are 3 that go together, like in Italy, a million ways. It just depends on what house you're at, but there's a million ways to do it. So this is the way I like to do it. So I chop up this chicken. You know, that's again the spoon. You can chop in the pan because it's flat. You know, so it's amazing. Love it. Also for risotto too. All right, so now we're going to fire this back up while we get into our pasta here. So now pasta. So I won't add it yet because we're not there yet, but here's a trick. When you're cooking with pasta and pasta water, you're given this free ingredient, and that's this delicious starchy broth, if you like pasta. So this is the pasta water from this dish back here. So a good trick to do is when you make pasta, save 2 cups, put it in the freezer in a little pint container, just label it pasta water. That way, when you go to make your next dish with pasta, you could have some moisture to add to it without having to wait for it. Or you can just add it to it after, and then eventually that pasta water is just going to get more richer and just almost like eventually they turned it into a gravy, which I don't know if we go that far, but saving it's a good trick to this is the moisture in this dish is just from the pasta water. So what we're going to do is we're going to add our pasta. This would be dry pasta, but we're gonna add. This is already part cooked. All right, so we're gonna add our pasta water here. Get that going. Salted, of course. Get these to one side of the pan. Another little trick there. All right, so this is the point of time where the family knows. Sit down, because dinner's coming. So you always want your dish to wait for your pasta. You never the other way around. So when you get your pasta in the water, that means like everything else should be done. All right, so we got our garlic in there, all that water. Whoops. All right, so then that's where this comes in here. This would be here, but right now it doesn't have enough flavor. I mean, this is like a true, just really nice, simple way to have pasta. So we have our parsley, kai parsley, of course, and again, just off the cuff cooking, just what's available to you. Diane brought some dill. So why not add dill? It's there. Just use it. It's no big deal, right? Whatever herb is there. So in the sausage, we'll talk about that real quick while this is heating. It's the ground chicken, like I said. Sausage could be as simple as garlic, salt, pepper. You have a sausage. Many Italian, French sausages are just that, and you'll taste it, and you're just amazed at how delicious it is. But that deliciousness is coming from how they raise the pork, how fresh the chicken is. So garlic, salt, pepper. This has marjoram, which is an herb that I grow out on the farm. This also has rosemary, and that's it, and a garlic. So it's just a 5-ingredient sausage. But the lemon zest really adds a nice little touch to it as well. You can add butter to this. A lot of times I've been usually using olive oil a lot more than butter lately. And then, so we're going to finish it with some olive oil here. And then seasoning it, so we're going to a little salt, a little pepper. So really all the flavor is coming from the garlic, the broccoli, the peppers. Super simple, delicious. It's amazing. So good. It's that sausage, the pasta, the herbs. So the plate up on this dish, let me get this out of the way. Get this out of the way. So the plate up again is, I consider is also, I consider it farm-to-table food. Farm-to-table food to me is anything that's like, it's got to be local, it's got to be simple. You know, farm-to-table food, in my opinion, would never get a foam or would never get a gel or anything that's like molecular. It should be stuff that you've seen a grandma make or something like that, or any kind of family recipe that you could adapt. But the first and foremost, it should be local. So right here we got a lot of local in this pan. All right, so the plate up on this is really simple. So this is like sausage and herbs and broccoli and peppers and the juice from the pasta water. And I'm a big fan of Pecorino Romano. Pecorino Romano is any sheep's milk cheese. They just have more sharpness to it, you know, the sheep's milk. This could be Parmigiano Reggiano. I mean, if you have Manchego, use Manchego. There's nothing wrong with that either. Any kind of truffle aged Gouda would be good too. But that's all you want to do on there. And then if you had a little more pasta water, you could just top the dish with there. Always finish with a little olive oil on top. And that's it. That's your fantastic chicken sausage or chete pasta, happy rich broccoli, and some charred peppers. Enjoy.
How's everybody doing so far? We having a good time? Dan and I, we go back 20 years. Yeah, he was my boss back in the day. So here we are at Kai Farm. It's really, really great. So earlier we talked about ice cream. So I churned this ice cream for about 45 minutes. It's nice and set. One key thing I didn't tell you, when you cook the custard, it's really important to hit that 170 degrees is your magic number. Anywhere between 170 and 175, your egg yolk is going to start to coagulate, and that's going to make your sauce. If you go above 175, you'll have scrambled eggs. But if you hit that sweet spot, you're going to have that really nice custard. So that's what's nice. So this, like I said, it's a French custard, so it's really nice and creamy and very rich, very nice. Also, what we're going to do here, we've got some nice strawberries. So these have just been macerated in some sugar, a little bit, just a pinch of sea salt, lemon juice, and lemon zest. And I just cooked it down for about a half hour. And then I strained it out. So I kept the solids in one container, so that's going to be my compote. And then some of the liquid that I had, I put back in a pot. I thickened it with a little bit of cornstarch, so now I have a little strawberry syrup to garnish with as well. And this stuff holds up in the fridge. So I didn't, unfortunately, have time to make cookies for you today, but I did bring them. And there's a recipe for them in your packet. These cookies are phenomenal. It's a lemon shortbread cookie. It's the easiest cookie. You will make this cookie, and your friends that come over will think you are a pastry chef. It's really great. Butter, sugar, lemon juice, lemon zest, a little lemon extract, and some flour. And you just bake it off, and it's really great. The good thing about this cookie is you can bake it, you can freeze it in a Ziploc bag, and you can take it out, and it's just as good as it was. So it's a really nice cookie. And as far as ice cream, lemon verbena is fantastic, but whatever flavor you like. You know, I serve this cookie with a raspberry sorbet for dessert all the time, and it's a wonderful way to end a meal. Wonderful way. So we've got our ice cream. We've got our strawberry syrup. Got my strawberry compote right on top. And then I like to put the cookie right in the middle. And lemon verbena and mint, really great, and it's also very pretty. All right, so we have a really nice, easy, simple dessert. If you don't have the time to make the ice cream, you can do store-bought ice cream, store-bought sorbet. You make the cookie. No one will know you didn't make the ice cream. I'm not going to tell anybody. So like I said, this is going to cook for a little while. We're plating some desserts for you right now, and we're going to wrap it up. So I hope everyone had a really great time at Kai Kai Farm. Thank you so much.
So thanks again, Chef Daniel Ramos, Natasha, Mr. Adam Brown, and where is Fernando, the team for tonight. And thanks for joining us.